Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl M here. Today we are here for just a little Q&A. So I popped up a question box on my Instagram just asking you guys, hey, let's do some fashion and styling questions for a YouTube video. So I have a cup of coffee. So if you are into Q&As, fashion and styling questions and answers, keep on watching. All right, someone said describe your style in 3 words. I would say minimalism done maximally. So I am very much so into like neutral color palettes. I don't wear a ton of prints. I wear a lot of very simple cuts and styles, things like that. So that's where like the minimal part comes in, but the maximal part comes in because I definitely don't have, in terms of item number, a minimal wardrobe. It's definitely far from minimal. So minimal done maximally. Someone also asked, how old were you when you started getting into styling and fashion? So I was really young. I mean, I grew up in the dance community, so I grew up in performing arts, so dance, music, and theater, and I feel like people in those communities, they're just creatives, they're individuals, and so they express themselves in a multitude of ways, but like through their clothing is one way. So I would say, you know, especially, I would say really getting into it around like high school, like early high school is when I really started getting into it and just enjoying it. And that was also around the time, you know, when I was able to work and have a job and have, you know, it was a thing where my parents were like, hey, if you want something, then you buy it yourself. And so that was when I finally had, you know, more than like the 20 bucks they would throw me to go to the mall over the weekend with one of my friends, which like when we were younger, we were like, oh, my parents gave me $20, I'm so rich. But actually like having a bit of money to spend on clothes, I would say that's probably when I really started to get into it. I would say that I didn't like come into my own personal style though until like my 20s, which I am currently in. Then somebody asked, next goal bag. I think next goal bag is the Dior book tote. Preferably, well specifically, it would be very hard for me to find this because I've tried, believe me. The Toile de Nuit, the black and white, I absolutely adore that, but it is so hard to find. So I saw the Zodiac one that came out this year and I liked it, but I'm also kind of waiting, one, because I just bought the saddle bag like a month and a half ago, but two, I want to see if in future collections there's like a neutral style that really sticks out to me that I really like, really want. But yeah, I would definitely say the book tote because I do want a nice tote to carry around. I have my Neverfull, but there's something about like the cloth book tote that I really love, and they just seem so durable as well. Like they're a little thicker than the Neverfull, and I just really like the look of them. I like the structure of them. I think they would just make for a great bag to have in my collection as a tote bag. So that is that. Somebody asked, comfortable and stylish fancy shoes, SOS. So it's gonna entirely depend on like what you classify as fancy, what you classify as stylish, things like that. I've actually had a lot of luck in the Target shoe section. I found a lot of really great shoes at Target. Same with Express for like a more affordable option. Now, I'm trying to think of like, in terms of like higher end ones, I've had good luck with like Jeffrey Campbell. I like some of the Jeffrey Campbell shoes that I've had. I'm trying to think of like where my go-to shoes. I get shoes from so many different places, especially like my boots and my booties. A place where you can check, and it's gonna be more in like that mid-range price point, so not, you know, the super affordable price point, but not like the super ridiculously expensive price point. They do have some on there that are within the ridiculously expensive price point, but the website Revolve, they have a ton of options in general, but they have a lot of shoes on there as well, and a lot of different price points, so I would definitely check out Revolve. Same with Steve Madden. Steve Madden is definitely more in the affordable price point range. I've had some good luck with Steve Madden over the years. Okay, this one's fun. Top tips for when not to add jewelry to an outfit. So I generally wear jewelry like all the time. It just depends on the type. So I typically keep it pretty simple, pretty minimal. Like for example, I just have these little like Huggies in from Free People. Then my piercings that are up here, my little chain is stuck. I like never take my piercings that are up here out. Like that guy in there, I mean, I like take them out to like clean them and stuff. And then those guys up there with the chain. The chain I can't link at all, and this earring inside here is super old, but I can't link the chain because they actually had it at the parlor where I got my ear pierced. But So when I'm thinking about earrings, like if I'm wearing something that's like a turtleneck or like a super high neckline, I generally don't wear like a crazy earring with it. If I have something that's a little bit more like open chested, or you know, maybe it's like a spaghetti strap dress or like a scoop neck or something like that. And especially if I'm wearing my hair up, I can get like a fancier, more dangly earring. But then if I'm wearing a fancier, more dangly earring, I'm not gonna have like a really elaborate necklace on. I probably won't even have a necklace on at all. And if I do, it'll be something super thin and super dainty. I'm a fan of having like, I mean, I don't have them on right now because I'm just chilling, but I'm a fan of having like rings on pretty much all the time. I generally keep those pretty simple, pretty minimal. If you want to do, if you're having like a fancier evening, keep the number of rings a lot less and then have like a statement like cocktail type ring. That's something that you can do. Generally, I try not to have multiple statement jewelry items in one outfit because it's distracting to me. So if you're gonna have, in my opinion, like a staple accessory, a staple piece of jewelry, it should kind of stand alone, and it should be the thing about even the outfit as a whole, but especially the accessories, that your eye goes to first, kind of a thing, if that makes sense. So it depends on the outfit, it depends on the vibe, but I like having some kind of jewelry on at all times. It just makes me feel like the outfit is finished and polished, if that makes sense. So I personally say I don't think there's any necessarily time when you don't add jewelry to an outfit. It's just the type and like amount of jewelry that you add to an outfit, if that makes sense. Also, if you're wearing like a very printed top, I wouldn't wear, you know, a ton of jewelry. I wouldn't wear a ton of layered necklaces. I wouldn't wear like very bold necklaces, because then that's going to compete with the print, if that makes sense. And like same thing with an earring. If you have a really, you know, standout printed top, I wouldn't like be trying to compete with a really statement earring either, unless you're one of those people that you can just pull off lots of statements happening at once. I prefer, if I'm gonna have a statement, if I'm gonna make a statement, I make minimal statements at one time. Someone asked, the LV belt, worth it? So I have two of the reversible Louis Vuitton belts. I have one that is like the brown monogram with red on the other side, and then I have one that is black on one side and then the brown monogram on the other side. And I do really like both of them. The only thing though is, if I'm wearing a different, you know, designer house with their monogram showing, so for example, like my saddlebag, I don't wear the Louis belt with a different monogram because it just clashes in a way that bothers me a lot. Like having the Louis Vuitton monogram on the belt and then like a Dior monogram on a bag. First of all, that's just like a lot for me, in my opinion. Like that's like a lot of monograms at one time. But I also just think it like clashes in a weird way. So if I'm wearing, you know, one of my Louis bags, and that's one of those times, and I'll wear, you know, one of my Louis belts if I want to. But if I am wearing my saddlebag, which I have been wearing more often, I don't wear the Louis belt. So that's part of why I ended up getting the Christian Dior belt as well, just because I wanted to have a black belt that I could wear with that, if that makes sense. But if I'm wearing a bag that is Louis and has the monogram on it, or I'm wearing a bag that maybe it is, you know, a branded bag, but you don't see a monogram anywhere, so there's no like monogram competition, if you will, then I don't mind wearing it at all. And they are nice because they're reversible, so you basically get two belts in one. I've enjoyed wearing them. Now, if you want to spend that much money on a belt, that is completely up to you. So whenever anybody asks me the question like, is it worth it? I can't tell you if it's worth it for you, because it's your money and you decide what's worth it to you and what's not. Just like how I decide what's worth it to me and what's not. So take that for what you will. This is a good one because I get asked this a lot, and like my answer is different now. But somebody said, because you do bodybuilding, how do you plan your wardrobe for an ever-changing body? This is part of why, and not like just from a clothing aspect, but like part of why I'm taking like a really big step back from bodybuilding and like competing is because I was just personally really tired of having to go through so much bodily fluctuation, if that makes sense. Like having to go through like intense growing periods and then intense cutting periods. Like I don't want to have that much bodily fluctuation. Obviously, a relative amount of body weight fluctuation is normal for every single human being, no matter what you do. But the amount within bodybuilding, like, and essentially having to have two different wardrobes, I just don't want that for myself at this point in time. So that's, I mean, it played a role in me saying like, hey, I'm gonna take like a significant step back from competing, just because I don't want to have to, you know, have separate closets for growing season and prep and all this stuff. Like I just want to, I would like to, if possible, have one closet that fits pretty much every season kind of thing. So yeah, that's the answer to that. I'm just not really having to deal with that anymore because it's not my journey right now. Somebody asked, how do you tell if something doesn't go together? I mean, this is just a personal thing, but I can look in the mirror and I literally know when I look at an outfit in the mirror, yes or no. I can look at it and be like, yes, and I can look at it and be like, no. And if there's ever that rare maybe instance, then I take a picture of it. So like a lot of times what I'll do is I'll set my phone up on a video, and this is also a lot of how I do my own like self-shot content, but I'll set my phone up on video and I'll try and just get some shots of the outfit like that I could screenshot and like see how it moves, see how it looks in video. And usually if I didn't have a solid yes or no answer before then, like obviously it was a maybe, that's why I did the video thing, I can see within the video or within the photos like that's either a yes or a no. And typically if it's at the maybe point, it's a no. And if it's something where you're trying to plan outfits ahead of time, so it's not like you're like trying to wear that, you know, right then and there, put it on, take a picture of it, and then look at the picture a few days later. And then ask yourself if you like it and if you think it goes together. That's really helpful too. And if you do like it, add it to the outfit folder like we talked about in my styling tips video. If you don't like it, delete the picture and we don't wear the outfit. All right, someone asked your favorite places to shop. So I would say, if I had to narrow it down to like 3 retailers, I would say my favorite places to shop are, largely due to variety, Nordstrom, because they carry a lot of different brands, a lot of different price ranges, both online and in store, especially the bigger cities you're in. They do tend to have more variety. And then for an online retailer, I really like Revolve. Again, they have a huge selection that fits just about anyone's style, whatever your kind of style preference is. They do market more towards like the very trendy, like it girl type style, if that makes sense, but they have classics, they have really great pieces. They have lots of blazers. Obviously they have a lot of different brands on there, and it is one of my favorite retailers to shop. It is a little overwhelming if you've never shopped on Revolve before, just because there is so much. So it does take like a little bit of practice, but also knowing what you're looking for when you're going on the site, if that makes sense, in terms of like what items you're looking for. But for example, like my favorite pair of boyfriend jeans ever are the gold 90s fit jeans. I've purchased multiple pairs of them and I always get them from Revolve. So they have a great selection. They have just the best return policy in the entire world. Like it's so easy and so seamless, and their shipping is literally top notch. And then I would probably say toss up between H&M and Zara. I like both of them. It's tough. And I know a lot of people don't like them for their own reasons, and that's totally fine. But it would be a toss-up then between H&M and Zara. Obviously, they don't carry the wide variety of like brands that Nordstrom and Revolve do, but they are generally a more budget-friendly price point. They do carry a lot of trend pieces if that's something you're into, but they also do tend to carry pretty regularly like a lot of different staple items as well. Someone asked, which brand do you like best to invest in a first high-end designer purse, Dior or YSL? So I'm gonna be really biased here in my answer because I've never purchased from YSL, and not that I've never had the desire, but I've heard from like friends that I have similar taste in bags to them, that they don't like that a lot of the YSL bags are too pillowy for them, like just too pillowy. Like there's some styles that I'll see online that I'll be like, oh, that's cute. And then I'm thinking of one friend in particular. She like got a couple and like tried them and returned them. And she was like, yeah, no, they're just too poofy, and I don't want a poofy bag. So it'll really depend on the style you're after, but I personally am a fan of Dior. Heavily biased towards Dior. But I would say, you know, they're both really great established brands in the luxury bag realm. So it just depends on your personal style. I don't think you're gonna go wrong, but I would go towards where you're gonna, you know, find the style that best suits you, you know, which house has the styles that are most you, and then maybe consider buying your first one if you've never really tiptoed into it and you're trying to like get a vibe for it. Buy it like pre-loved or something on something like a Vestiaire or, you know, whatever. Or maybe not, because then it'd be harder to return it. I don't know. But again, I am really partial to Dior, and I've kind of stayed away from YSL bags just from some like reviews that I've seen friends make, if that makes sense. Someone asked, do you have the I have nothing to wear moment? Yes. And it's not necessarily I have nothing to wear, because I know in my logical brain that I have plenty of things that I could wear, but I'm like, for this exact specific scenario and vibe and season and day and time and astrological position of the planet, I have nothing to wear. You know what I mean? Am I the only person that experiences this? You're like, even with my outfit folder, I'm like, I know I have so many options in here, but no. So I do have those moments, I do. But I will say, I have less of them since really refining my style, and especially since I established like my uniform, which we talked about in the styling tips video, which like obviously my uniform involves a blazer of some kind. It's generally, I can dress it up, I can dress it down kind of a thing. So I run into those moments less, and it's nice to have like that default fallback uniform outfit, so to speak, if I can't like think of anything else to wear, if that makes sense. Someone asked for hot weather fashion tips, how to not look like a hot mess when you're sweating your off. So this is gonna be different for every single person. I keep it simple as always. I keep it minimal as always. But I think a lot of times what warm weather fashion is gonna come down to is the fabric. So you want really lightweight, really flowy fabrics. You don't want things that are super heavy. A fabric that I really like in the summertime, whether it's for shirts, whether it's for dresses, whatever it is gonna be linen. It's just very lightweight, but it looks really nice. Like if you get a really pretty linen dress, it just looks so put together, so beautifully styled, that you don't have to, you know, do much with it. And also something to think about in the summer is because, you know, I obviously prefer fall winter fashion because you get to layer more because it's cold. With spring summer fashion, but especially summer, it's really hot outside, so you're not layering as much because you don't want to roast. So something you can experiment with your summer fashion or just your warm weather fashion is having a little bit more fun with accessories, because they're lightweight, they go like on your wrists, on your fingers, on your neck, in your ears, whatever it is, and it's not necessarily like clothing weight, if that makes sense, that's like weighing you down and making you overheated and those kind of things. So like play around with accessories, have fun with bangles, have fun with rings, have fun with necklaces, have fun with earrings, have fun with belts, have fun with like scarves, like tying a little neck scarf or like tying a little scarf to your bag or whatever it is. Like have more fun with the accessories, have fun with shoes, like strappy sandals, things like that. But I'm always a big fan of just like a flowy summer dress. That's always a nice go-to. You can really never go wrong with just a classic pair of like jean shorts and a plain white t-shirt, a plain white tank top. I think that looks so clean and so fresh. It paired with like a nice shoe. And by nice shoe, I don't necessarily mean like a fancy shoe, but I mean like a well-constructed shoe, if that makes sense. Or even just a cute little sneaker. You can absolutely do that too. But just think of keeping it crisp, keeping it fresh, and not trying to overwhelm the outfit, if that makes sense. Like stick to something clean and simple. I mean, that's like my rule year round, but especially in the summertime, stick to something clean and simple. Stick to lightweight flowy fabrics. Again, I'm a big fan of linen. To have fun with like different kinds of, you know, like you can even do some linen trousers with like a tank top and a belt, because linen again is a lightweight fabric, so you can get away with like a loose billowy trouser in the summertime and not be too hot. So it really just depends on you, your personal style. But I would say, you know, start with the fabrics and make sure your fabrics are warm weather friendly, and then have more fun with accessories in the hotter months, because you're not wearing as much clothing because it's hot. So have fun with the other elements of your style, if that makes sense. You can, you know, have like a fun hat too. Someone asked proportions and how to balance. I'm short with a very large bottom half and no boobs. So this is obviously going to be your personal decision at your personal discretion. Obviously, like I'm a fan of, you know, wearing whatever you want regardless of body shape or body type. So that belief kind of throws the old adages of dress for your body type like out the window kind of a thing, because it's like if you like something but it's not, you know, dressing for your body type, I'm a fan of still wearing it. But if we are playing the proportionality game, what you want to try and create is balance from top to bottom, if that makes sense. So if you are more pear-shaped, which a lot of women are, so you are a bit more slight on the top and fuller on the bottom, then what you can do, and thank God the shoulder trend is coming back, right, is you can have just a more fitted, and I would go with a more dark color on the bottom. I would kind of stay away from prints on the bottom, because anything that's very light or anything that's printed is going to, one, draw the eye to it, but also like it can distort, if that makes sense. And again, you want to try and create balance, which generally means drawing the eye towards a different area, if that makes sense. It's not necessarily trying to hide your lower half, it's trying to bring up and draw attention to your upper half to not only like help actually balance it out in terms of shape and structure, but also distract the eye away from the part that you're trying to balance out, if that makes sense. The way I'm putting this is not making much sense. Maybe it's making sense when like I'm saying it to you. But you're tricking people into thinking proportionality is more there because you have something a little louder on the top. So I would say keep the bottoms, whether it's a pant, whether it's a skirt, whatever it is, on the darker side and the solid side, so not printed. And I would also keep it a bit more tailored. Like I wouldn't do anything super baggy or loose fitting on the bottom. You don't have to wear anything like skin tight by any means, but I would keep it a little bit more tailored. And then on the top, you can have fun with, you know, a little bit more color, some prints. Like I said, having a structured shoulder. That's part of why I like having structured shoulders. I mean, I just really love a structured shoulder as well, but I feel like it helps give me more shape up top, whereas I don't have much. And I just love a structured shoulder. So I would say, you know, have fun with whether it's like poofy, like not like aggressively poofy, but like some shoulder detailing, whether it's just like a little, just like, or you have like a shoulder padded blazer, or like I said, you wear a print, you wear a nice bold bright color, maybe you do like a chunky necklace, something like that to draw attention upwards to your upper half. And you can flip that around too. So if you're trying to, you know, if you have like, for example, maybe like broader shoulders and like a narrower bottom half, so you're more of like the inverted triangle shape, then you can do the opposite. So you can keep your top pieces a little bit more streamlined, a little bit, you know, darker in color, neutral, you know, so you can keep your top pieces a little bit, you know, more streamlined, a little bit more tailored in terms of fit. You can keep them, you know, a little bit darker in color, kind of avoid prints or keep the prints very subtle and minimal on top, and then have more fun with your bottom. So whether that be a color, whether that be a print, whether that be, you know, a flowier shape kind of a thing, or just something that has more shape in general, you can flip-flop that depending on your body type. So that is gonna be it for our little Q&A today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I am at the end of my coffee, but I hope you guys enjoyed this Q&A. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Again, I am still having so much fun creating all of this content, and it's been a really nice, bright place for me, is this channel. So thank you for letting me be here and for enjoying it too. So that's it for me. If you want to see more Q&As in the future, definitely let me know down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.